Let's take a look at the paleo-accuracy of the dinosaurs depicted in Dinosaur Dance, a children's book by Sandra Boynton. Of course, this is targeted at little kids, and it's going to be cartoony. That's just the art style, so this is just for fun. We're going to see how accurate some of these things are and what is off, allowing for artistic freedom. You know, they're cartoons, so I'm not going to be too harsh on it. So the book opens with this stressed out looking fellow. He's kind of the narrator of the whole thing. Zang, bop, kiddly, pow, the dinosaur dance is starting now. That's basically the premise here. The dinosaurs are about to start dancing. As we get into the book, we'll see that most of the dinosaurs are named, so we can tell what they're supposed to be. This guy, though, isn't named. I don't know what he's supposed to be. I think this is a theropod, so I'm going to call it Allosaurus, because he's got 3 fingers. If he had 2 fingers, I'd say he's a T-Rex, but he's got 3 fingers, so I'm calling him an Allosaurus. I'm mostly taken by the expression on his face. I think it's the way his eyes are drawn. He seems not excited, but kind of stressed out that the dinosaur dance is starting. He gives me a Kermit the Frog vibe. The show is starting! The show is starting! So this is kind of the real structure of the book. So each dinosaur does its own different dance. So here we have the blue Stegosaurus. In cartoony books like this, you can always tell the Stegosaurus because he's got the diamond spikes on his back, which, of course, Stegosaurus really did have. And he does have thagomizers. It looks like he's got 3 thagomizers at the end of his tail, which, of course, Stegosaurus had 4 total. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt and say that one of the spikes is behind one of the other spikes there. So he's got 4 thagomizers. Thagomizers are the tail spikes, if anyone doesn't know. Of course, Stegosaurus couldn't stand on 2 legs like this, but the entire premise of the book is that they're dancing, so I can give that to you cartooniness. Another striking thing is the proportion of his spikes. The spikes would be way bigger compared to his body. The real thing that I think is probably bugging me the most as far as accuracy is the size of his head. Stegosaurus had a really small head compared to its body, and more specifically, its snout shouldn't be bulbous like this. Stegosaurus should have its snout tapering down and ending in a beak. It's a cute cartoon, but that's probably the most offensive inaccuracy in this Stegosaurus. Moving along, the Brontosaurus here is appropriately quadrupedal. The first thing I notice is his neck is pretty much completely vertical. It's actually cocked back a little bit. It's more than vertical. A Brontosaurus should have its neck much more forward than this. To get into actual details, the front forelimbs would really just end in a pillar of just fleshy knuckles. It's kind of hard to explain here, but the little fingers pointing forward are simply not there. That's definitely the worst part of this Brontosaurus. Besides that, he's just cartoony and his neck is sticking up too vertically. But, he's dancing, so that's excusable. Next is the Triceratops. So again, he's standing on his back legs, but that's just because he's a cartoon and he's dancing. So identifiable features of a Triceratops are the 2 horns above the eyes, which we've got there, and the horn above the nose, which he's got. Kind of like the Stegosaurus, I kind of want to say the beak, or the lack of a beak, is the most offensive here. He should have a pointy, a beak. Triceratops does have a lot of teeth, though, so he's showing off those dental batteries. His tail is pretty small, which is appropriate for a Triceratops. Their tails weren't very robust. This isn't bad. The Triceratops is fine. It's hard to find something too offensive about this, given the style of the art. Pterodactyl. Now, if I looked at this, I would call it a Pteranodon, but this is what the narration says, so canonically this has to be a pterodactyl. Now, of course, pterosaurs are not dinosaurs, so bear with me here. Pterodactyl isn't a proper name. Pterodactylus is the actual name of the genus. I think Pterodactyl doesn't have a crest. Anyway, I don't know what to say. This is a Pteranodon. So if I want to analyze it as a Pteranodon, it's not too bad. The legs should be shorter. It's kind of weird how the arm is going up into the wing. Pteranodon or Pterodactylus, the way the wing works is it's like the pinky finger extending all the way down to the tip of the wing, giving it its structure. So the long arm ending in 3 little fingers there is pretty weird, and it's not really how pterosaurs work. It's not a dinosaur, so anyway, he's having a good time. He's dancing with the dinosaurs. Now this is an interesting point in the book. Here we have a tiny little dino, which we don't know the species of, and also our host here, the guy that we decided is an Allosaurus, he says, I don't know his name, what could it be? Tiny little dino makes me think Compsognathus or something like that. I think he kind of looks like Woodstock from Peanuts, so I think he's supposed to be like a bird, which makes me think Archaeopteryx or maybe Microraptor. I'm going to go ahead and call this an Archaeopteryx, in which case it should have feathers on its arms and tail and basically look like a bird. I'm sort of stumped at the paleo accuracy, but I'm a little more baffled by the narrative choice. Why did they put this here? Maybe as a little breakdown in the rhyme scheme? I don't know. It's pretty weird. And now we've got the Velociraptors. I'm going to start by the nice things. I like the shape of their legs, and I like their posture. With the other dinosaurs standing upright that aren't supposed to stand upright, it's nice to see some theropods standing horizontally. But Velociraptors should be covered in feathers. They should have pennaceous feathers on their arms and hands and tails, and they should have feathers covering their body. And I kind of want to say the lack of feathers is the most egregious part, but I'm a little more offended by the fact that they don't have the Dromaeosaur sickle toe claw. Like, if you're gonna make them Jurassic Park Velociraptors, give them the claw. That's the whole thing. Yeah, so this isn't great. This is probably my least favorite of all these. They don't have feathers and they don't have the sickle toe claw. I don't know. It's rough. We're moving right along. Tyrannosaurus Rex goes stomp, stomp, stomp. Now, allowing for the cartoony style of this, with the big bulbous snout, which actually is probably kind of more accurate for the T-Rex, he's standing upright, like vertically, which is more like an outdated posture, but it's cartoony and he's dancing, so I'll allow that. He's got 3 toes on his feet, he's got 2 fingers on his hands. I really don't see anything too bad with this. He's a cartoony T-Rex, it's fine. I like this guy. Good T-Rex. Next up is Iguanodon. I like this guy. I like his energy, I like his style, I like his dance. Iguanodon had 3 big toes on his hind feet, as he is depicted here. Iguanodon is probably mostly well known for the thumb spikes, which I would say are definitely depicted here. The fingers shouldn't be so fingery, they're more hoof-like, but that is kind of inaccurate, but I'll kind of give it a pass. I actually do like his posture. Iguanodon would be able to walk on all fours or stand up on its hind legs. Also, the little bumps down his back, I don't think we have evidence of that specifically for Iguanodon, but a lot of related dinosaurs do actually have that, so it's kind of cool to see that. It is also scientifically accurate that if an Iguanodon was going to have a featured dance, it would go dibbity-da. That is scientifically proven. Dibbity-da is exactly an Iguanodon's vibe. Honestly, this is one of the least offensive ones. This guy looks good. I like this Iguanodon. Now we get one more little glimpse at the mysterious Archaeopteryx Microraptor Woodstock creature. And this leads us into another whole scope of things that can be analyzed, and that is the scale of these creatures. Now, it's pretty clear that the artist wanted to fit them all on a page and make them aesthetically pleasing. And to be honest, the colors are awesome. I like the way the colors all look. We don't know how these dinosaurs were colored, besides the possible Microraptor, which would have been black. But, I mean, this page, it looks good. They fit on the page, they're colorful, it's fine. But to be scientifically accurate, let's look at how they are scaled. This poor guy who just can't get his head wrapped around the situation. This Allosaurus guy, I'm going to exclude him from the scale. It looks like he's closer to us because he's kind of yelling at us what's going on. He needs to go home and take a nap. So looking at the rest of these, I would say the Stegosaurus, the Triceratops, and the Iguanodon are all about medium size and compared to each other, pretty okay, proportionally. So as I go on to compare the rest of them, let that be the reference. So I think the easiest one to start with is the T-Rex. So just by relative size, compared to the Triceratops and Stegosaurus, the T-Rex would be a little bit bigger, not quite twice as big, but maybe 1.5 times as big, just as I'm eyeballing it. The Brontosaurus, that you can see with his neck poking up, just getting over the T-Rex's nose there, would probably be a good 4 or 5 times the size you see here. You basically see his legs and its torso in this frame. Obviously, the artist was just trying to fit him on the page. Maybe he's a baby Brontosaurus, but he should be way bigger compared to the rest of them. The Pteranodon is probably too big, probably about twice as big as it should be. It would probably be the size of the little yellow Woodstock Archaeopteryx. And actually, if it's supposed to be Pterodactylus, it would be much smaller than that. It would be maybe a quarter of the size of the Woodstock creature. And speaking of Woodstock, if he is an Archaeopteryx, or a Microraptor, or a Compsognathus, he should be maybe a quarter the size of what you see here compared to the Triceratops. Very, very small. And of course, that brings us back to the Velociraptors. For these to be accurate Velociraptors, they should probably be about the size of the little Woodstock guy. I think the little yellow guy might be the actual Velociraptor, and I don't know what these big theropods are. They're just too big. No Dromaeosaurs are that big. Actually, they're pretty close to Allosaurus, but canonically, they've been named as Velociraptors, so they're just too big. But of course, the artist just wanted to fit them all on the page and make them look good, and they're all doing the cha-cha-cha together, and that's the whole point of this book. This book is targeted toward little kids. The art is great, it's cute, it's cartoony, it's exactly what it's trying to be. The dinosaur inaccuracies are mostly forgivable, but I just can't get over these Velociraptors, so there you go. That's Dinosaur Dance by Sandra Boynton, and I hope you enjoyed. Hey everyone, if you're as passionate about dinosaurs as I am, consider checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/totaldino. When you join, you'll be able to request your favorite dinosaur to be featured, and it'll be up on social media within a few days. You'll also get exclusive previews of upcoming content, dinosaurs, and art not yet posted anywhere else on the internet. I really appreciate the support, and again, that's patreon.com/totaldino.